Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Mayor Tyler Moore Show here on the Kokomo Post, partner with Robert Miller and Son Furniture. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
My name is Drew Larison. This is Leprechaun Moore. And
Tyler O'Moore.
Tyler O'Moore. O'Moore. That's okay.
And see, the thing is, my middle initial is O for Owen.
Perfect.
So the very first job I had out of college, the name tag, name badge that they got for me, I submitted Tyler O. Moore. Serious O, comma, apostrophe Moore.
I
Yep.
love that.
Tyler O'Moore. So
Very
my
cool.
very first
Love that.
name badge, fresh out of college, was Irish.
Love that. Yeah. Well, welcome to St. Patrick's Day episode of the Mayor Tyler Moore Show. Hope you are enjoying your day and maybe had a good weekend celebrating the holiday. Mm-hmm. I know I have some pastrami that's been cooking in the crock pot all day at home for dinner that I'm pumped about. And if there are leftovers, we're planning on Reubens for tomorrow night. So
Excellent.
Should be good. Before we get up and going, though, let's give a shout out to Robert Miller and Son for the partner of the show. Save big this tax season with our tax time savings event at Robert Miller and Son. This March, enjoy 30% off all furniture, plus an additional 5% off when you pay in cash. With 0% interest financing for up to 60 months for eligible purchases, you can bring home top-selling pieces like Lazy Boy recliners, Smith Brothers living room sets, and premium mattresses without breaking the bank. Find your pot of gold at Robert Miller and Son Furniture. I added that part.
That's perfect.
That wasn't in the ad read, but I just added that in there because it's St. Patrick's Day. So how was your weekend?
Great. Yes, wonderful. A lot of downtime.
Good.
A little bit of bonding time. My wife was at a conference doing some continuing ed for her profession. She's a therapist.
Okay.
And so it was just me and the dog all weekend. It was kind of nice.
A little dog time.
Little dog time. Got together with some of the guys that hadn't been with in a while as well. And so got caught up there. And yesterday drove down to Noblesville to meet up with my two daughters and one son-in-law and one son-in-law to be.
Nice.
So nice time there as well. So yeah, just a great weekend.
Very cool.
Great weekend. Thank you.
Yeah, same.
Yours?
It was good.
Good.
Pretty relaxed. Nothing crazy, as it should be. Same.
But it's crunch time. It's show week, ladies and gentlemen. It's show week. Children's Curtain Call Theater. Lion King Jr.
Non-paid sponsor, just so we're clear.
I know. I threw it out there. That's me.
Curtain Call Theater is putting on a show this weekend, Friday night, and then Saturday at noon. The show is Lion King Jr. Mm-hmm. And you are correct. If you are a fan of the show Little Foodies here on the Kokomo Post and watch the Kokomo Post Kids content, you might know a little guy named Jude Larison. Might be my son. I don't know.
Maybe.
But he is Pumbaa in this weekend's show, and it is crunch time correct. We got rehearsals all last week, all this week. It's crazy. So,
and I'm excited to see just that because he weighs $1.0, and if he's Pumbaa, you said he's got this costume.
Did I show you the costume?
Not yet.
Okay, I'll show you afterwards.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, it's a big costume for not a big guy, so it should be funny. But the kids, I know. I've been in the audience for shows like this before, and it's like the first time as like a parent behind the scenes, and they always say like the kids put in so much work to like make this happen, and it is so true.
It is
like,
so true.
These kids have worked their tails off, pun intended, to put on this show.
Talent in these kids. It's just
really is
amazing. And, you know, early on, and I'm saying this because those that may not have remembered, I had the opportunity to be with them and Charlie and Chocolate Factory last year. And you start out those first, handful of days or weeks of rehearsals. You're like, there is no way this is probably going to come together. But man,
it always
the kids
does.
just rise to the occasions, and it's just amazing.
It always does. Yeah, so that should be really fun this weekend. And I know it's like spring break time too for some people. So if you are sticking around Kokomo this upcoming weekend, come to the show. Support the kids, support Curtain Call. Live theater in any community is a great thing. So
I'll be there for opening night.
Should be fun. What's going on at City Hall this week?
Curtain Call Theater on Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
No. So so Mother Nature's playing with us a little bit. It was beautiful last week, and then bitter cold again this morning, and it's supposed to warm back up by the end of this week. And so Parks Department is starting to get their plans together for the spring and summer. We're working out a contract with a management company to take over the municipal stadium, and so starting to plan activities and games and events in there as well. So that'll be fun, seeing that come together as we start courting a potential new team owner for the summer of 26.
So we have signed a deal with a new company? You said?
We're working out the details of one just to manage the stadium for the summer.
Got it.
So may or may not be the same company that carries over and assists in managing the stadium, depending on the new ownership, or if that company morphs into the new ownership, we'll see. But really excited about the future of not only Municipal Stadium, but Kokomo baseball in Kokomo.
Very cool. Is there any details about that company?
They are currently a major management company of other parks in this region and are very proficient in scheduling baseball. They're very well known for managing baseball. One of their partners is a former major league player. I mean, so a lot of ties to the community as well, which is something that we wanted to bring back to whatever team plays in Kokomo Municipal Stadium. Is more local ownership, has a better handle on the local market, has more ownership in not just the team, but the management and day-to-day operations, week-to-week operations of the stadium as well. And so at least the company that will be assisting has that experience and will bring that. Again, whether or not they end up being the eventual owner, we're going to put an RFP together as a request for proposal and send that out probably in a month or so to try and get a team owner secured so that they can start June-ish, July-ish, or whatever, to start reaching out to college programs and such and putting a team together for the 26 season.
Gotcha. So these people that are possibly taking over this summer, are they interested in like a longer form contract?
That's our understanding, yes.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
It's good to know. Little insider baseball there.
Inside baseball, baby.
See what I did there?
That's right.
You see all what I did.
Getting ahead of the game because we're in the middle of March Madness.
It's true. Yeah, we filled out. We're doing an office bracket, and I got mine filled out today. Did you get yours done? His is done. Who'd you win? Who's winning? Florida. Same. That's who mine ended up.
I haven't filled one out yet.
But here's a question. Did you see those Michigan Wolverines win the Big Ten tournament?
I tell you, they pulled it off, man. That was, Maryland gave them a run for their money, though.
Maryland and Wisconsin, both games were really good games. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Anything else going on at City Hall?
Just spring cleaning, getting back out, anxiously awaiting for the asphalt plant to open so we can quit patching as many things and get to a little bit of asphalting. Now, again, it's not just means that when the asphalt plant opens that all of a sudden all these streets are going to magically start getting paved and such. I mean, it's a process. We've got a list, and so we'll get to them. But just excited to get those prioritized. Some of the projects that are coming together in the parks, the restrooms and splash pad down at Jackson Morrow Park, still waiting to get that hooked up with the water line that Indian American Water's putting in, but hopefully have that ready for Memorial Day weekend. So it'll be fast and furious. E&B's doing the work out at Cutler Park with our tennis courts and pickleball courts. So however they can work that in with everything they're doing, that may be a middle of summer deal as well. With now the miniature golf course that we're partnered with Bridges is going at Cutler Park, which is the old East Side Little League, as opposed to Highland Park now. So that'll be soon earth moving. So a lot of stuff. We're ready to roll. Ready to roll for 25.
Very cool. Okay, so we are going to get into the questions we have for the mayor today. If you have any questions for the mayor and you're watching this live, just make sure to leave them down in the chat. I have the chat pulled up as well as all my notes, so I'll pull them over and we'll get those questions asked live.
Let's do it.
Pretty cool thing we can do here. Every week we talk to the mayor. You can get some feedback on what's going on in your city. First question is from Vicky on Facebook.
Hey.
Could we use the former Jackrabbit Stadium to host more food truck events this summer? Vicky on Facebook. Speaking of Jackrabbits.
There's concern, and I'm assuming she's meaning like bringing the food trucks down onto the field. We just spent a few millions of dollars putting new turf down, and so I know that there's things that have been down on it, and so so food trucks down on the field Not sure. Having them maybe out in the parking lot if there's events going on, sure. I know that during some events, whether it's the 9/11 deal that the fire department puts on or some of the others, they've got a food truck or two parked out there in front of the stadium.
Yeah, Murph, they do that too.
The Murph, yep. Yeah. And so they have worked those in. Part of it is taking, obstructing folks' way in or taking up parking, but definitely a possibility of having some food trucks out front during some events, whether it's just our Cubs teams events on any given night of the week. If they do that, some satellite games from Championship Park probably be a good option as well, unless we'll probably have concession stands open now as opposed to in the past. If we throw a concert or two, possibly. So there's definitely the possibilities of bringing some food trucks there. Maybe not a food truck type of event down onto the field, but something we can definitely look into. Shoot me an email, mayor@cityofkokomo.org, with some more specific ideas on that or logistics, and we can look at it.
Food trucks, more and more of them popping up in the city
Anymore,
first.
all over.
Okay. Next question is actually from Reddit. Bob on Reddit wants to know, I heard a completely unreliable source say that you're planning on replacing all stoplights with roundabouts. Any truth to that?
No, absolutely not. No, we are not replacing every stoplight. I mean, there's one that I would like to see considered. I mean, we're not anywhere close because I haven't got design cost estimates and such anything, but it would be out on the east stretch of Markland, since Chick-fil-A is now coming and there's been an issue with traffic, looking at trying to make that flow a little better and restrict
the Markland and 931?
Not that intersection, further east of that intersection.
Oh, okay.
So down more closer in front of Walmart or Meijer, so that folks coming out the north end of that after leaving Hobby Lobby, Chick-fil-A, Ichiban, whatever would end through there.
Ichiban, yeah.
Right turn only, and then you'd have to swing around a roundabout to come back out to head back south.
We were at Staples yesterday. We had to get some things printed, and you're 100% right. That is, if you are turning west on back to Markland.
Near impossible.
But I said it. I said, I got to turn left out of here. And of course, it was one of the rare times there was nobody coming from either side, and I was able to easily pull out. And I said, I get that. Karma gave that to me. He said, "Oh yeah, you want to be negative about this street?
I'm going to let you go now."
Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
So that's the only one that is in my mind, not necessarily formally in design or something, but as we continue to work through the traffic concerns with the Chick-fil-A development, that was something that I've got our engineer looking into and kind of dropping and looking at what it would need and potential cost estimates on making that.
I know roundabouts. That the debate of roundabouts is hotter than a microwave burrito on a roller coaster at times. It's just wild. How hot those get. I love roundabouts. Every time I'm down in Hamilton County, Indy area, it is just so much quicker to move. You don't have to sit at a stoplight. I love roundabouts.
You probably, a lot of times you have to sit as people enter a traffic.
Nothing compared to a red light, though.
But it is. It allows traffic to flow, and as long as people know how to navigate them, then they're great, and they're definitely efficient. So. Don't know. That's the only one that's really in the works now. There were a couple added up by the battery plant just for the sake of development and streets and such, and up that way. But that's the only one that, like I said, it's not on the drawing board yet. It's just in my mind, and planted in the engineer's mind as well to come up with what that might look like. But yeah, they definitely. But no. No truth in the rumor that I'm just going to
take it easy,
randomly remove stoplights and put roundabouts in.
Classic Reddit users, throwing out crazy internet conspiracy theories out there. All right, next question is from Dominique through email, actually. As a cleaning business owner, we've had a handful of opportunities arise from connections to the battery plant. However, we face challenges being removed from job sites due to unions or large franchise companies securing the bids. With new businesses coming into Kokomo, how does the development committee and your team ensure that small businesses have a fair shot at these opportunities, whether for construction, cleaning, or other local services? What steps are being taken to encourage the use of local companies for these projects? Dominique through email.
Yeah, so the owners, contractors, whatever, are encouraged to use union work. We're a strong union town, and so, I mean, that's what the emphasis has been, but then also just on local. We know how that they're coming into the community, they want to be good partners, and so we don't go in and require that they have to. I mean, there's still that bid process. And if I heard you read the question correctly, that they're a small business, but they're not considered a union shop.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, yeah.
Yeah, and so because of the strong union presence and the encouragement that union presence has on the larger developers, on making sure that not only they're using local but using union shops, therein lies the struggle with that. I mean, we're not going to step in and say, hey, no, stop using larger ones, start using these little guys. I mean, and part of it too, I mean, the smaller operations, not knowing the size and scope of the jobs that they're bidding on, especially, I mean, if very few
people, unless you work there or have been invited out, have been to the battery plant. I mean, that place is huge. And so I don't know what areas they'd be cleaning, but I guess in respect to that, one way to assure that is that we encourage folks to become chamber members. I mean, because usually a lot of times they want to support those that support the community, and if they're a chamber member, if they go looking for a company, that's where they're going to go to that directory first to look for different companies that provide different services, and so that's a good opportunity. You don't have to be a union shop in order to be a chamber member, so that's one way to get your name and business out in front of other businesses, because even though the large corporations or large companies are securing these larger union shop, or just regardless, larger union or larger companies, not necessarily union, but larger companies to provide those services, that then frees up the opportunities for smaller businesses that are in the need of services like cleaning. Maybe it's a professional office, like a doctor's office or something. They may be able to compete with the others and provide services there. So I guess it just depends on the scale, scope of the services that they're able to provide with the number of employees. But I mean, we encourage every developer, every contractor, whatever it may be, every business to try and shop local, use local. If it's union, that's going to be up to them. But yeah, I mean, we try to get the word out, and one good way to do that is through the chamber.
Okay. So what does that, well, first off, like I think you clarified this too, just because union doesn't mean a large company, like a smaller supplier could be.
Yeah. But a lot of times, I mean, because if you organize, you organize under, a larger national type of union. And so I don't know what the requirements on that, if you have to have so many employees in order to organize that, if you're a mom and pop shop of, let's just use cleaning services as an example. If you've only got, 10 employees, I don't know what the requirements are for certain organized labor unions to allow businesses to organize if they're under a certain employee threshold or something. So that could be part of it.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know.
And so what does that partnership, and this could be Star Plus, or this could be, a lot of like the ripple effect companies that we've had a lot of conversations about that are here because of Star Plus. But what does that relationship look like with the chamber? When somebody comes in like a Star Plus or some of these other companies, what does that relationship look like between a chamber, and how is the chamber communicating those opportunities?
Yeah. So I
understand you're not a chamber representative, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. But kind of part of that discussion. So if a company comes in and they're not familiar with the Kokomo area, they're going to look at the development departments or economic development organizations, which in the city would be our development department, but again, the Alliance, Greater Kokomo Economic Development Alliance, which is the umbrella group that has the chamber and the Inventrec organizations underneath it. And so they may come in and say, hey, Alliance, we're coming in, we're going to need, a cleaning service. We're going to need, electricians. We're going to need, plumbers. We're going to need, all these things once we get, through construction and then after, post-construction, these additional services. Who can you suggest? Well, I mean, yes, the chamber is immediately going to go down through their members to promote them or to suggest them first, but I don't know if there's necessarily now if it's the development department. If we've got a list of service providers as well, we can direct them that way. But outside of that, because of the number of organizations or companies within any given service provider, whether it's an insurance company, whether it's cleaners, whether it's dry cleaners, even for that matter. Because there's services that they need for uniforms and such a lot of times. So we would direct them to the chamber because that's the quickest makeshift list that's been put together for those. But anybody that has information and wants us to have it available, if somebody is asking, we can certainly make that available to interested developers or contractors when they come into an area.
Sure. Yeah. And actually, Dominique's in the live chat too, commenting more on like the chamber and,
good.
Sounds like, it's common. The Chamber of Commerce has not been a great source. I hate to be the one that says it, but they have let down a handful of businesses time after time. I know this from my companies as well as also tons of friends that join and it never works out. They'll take their fee and there's no intent of companies getting an ROI. Someone has to say this and I'll be the one. So, I mean, it is tough, it is tough too, but I'm curious if there was like some sort of process for these companies, because I mean, Kokomo in a way we're having our own little blow up right now, right? Like there's a lot of new industries coming into town. There's a lot of new businesses coming into town, and we are a town that on paper, we say we really want to make sure local gets a shot, to help support all of these too. And I'm just curious what that process was, that partnership with a local chamber or that alliance, and what that could look like to communicate those, needs to a local business. Or if it was just being on the chamber website and maybe that company would choose you because of that. So it'd be interesting, and I do know the chamber over the years, I mean, a lot of, they are a nonprofit. I know a lot of the times nonprofits, they definitely struggle from that, way too many people doing the jobs of what should be more people. Right. So I mean, and I know communication is tough that, but, still have that purpose, and that is to help connect businesses to other businesses as well as connect businesses, to the public.
Yeah. And I've heard, a few other companies that are no longer chamber members, they said, we just, like you said, we didn't really feel like we got the return on investment that we got. And so you wonder, okay, you pay your fee and then, okay, so you become a chamber member, but do they go to the business after hours and network when others are there? Do they go to the luncheons and network with others and try to, do they find opportunities? And because I know, sometimes there's vendor fairs, even if there's career fairs, if you're not necessarily looking for an employee, but want something, I mean, if that's another way to get, with the options, it's, did they put in, the legwork? I mean, as opposed to, you pay your fee, but, I didn't get advertised, they came by and they gave me a sticker to put on my door and everything, but then I didn't see them again. It's like, well, I mean, it's in some respects, the chamber is a networking event. I mean, yes, you're listed in there, but, part of it too is just to find, to take advantage of those opportunities when there's, a ribbon cutting. Because I know an email goes out, if you're a chamber member that shows, the ribbon cuttings for the week, did you show up at those and congratulate another small business and say, hey, you're new business, hey, do you need, cleaned, do you need, there's those opportunities to create that relationship, as opposed to, sitting back and waiting for something to come or waiting for the phone call to happen. And, in this case for those larger corporations, I mean, if they hear that, a new company's coming in town and, you can call the development department or something and say, hey, I need a contact for the HR division or, staffing, or somebody, that makes decisions on certain services, we'd like to be considered for this and here's our information. I mean, so,
Sure.
I mean,
It's too. I mean, the idea of like the Chamber of Commerce. I mean, how long has that been around for? A really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those ideas of an organization where everything else has changed in the world of how business is done and how people operate businesses, how people find out about businesses, how people even like support local businesses. And I feel like that the idea of a chamber hasn't changed with the same pace as everything else that's changed due to business as well. Because I mean, there are some, I'm nerded out about this before, where like there are some case studies of people that have like kind of flipped the idea of what a chamber is and how it operates on its head, and like offering different services that maybe don't, that isn't what the chamber has always offered in the past and things like that. And because there are very successful chambers out there these days.
Sure.
I also think too, I don't know, I've noticed it like generationally, older generations, they had things like fraternities or Elks Club or even like something like the Country Club,
like any of your service organizations.
Well, but even like just paying for like a membership, type of thing. I think I've seen younger generations being less and less interested in just paying for a membership to say you're a member.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of organizations that have gone to the wayside because, I mean, you look at like certain things like the Elks Club or different other fraternities similar like that. So it's one of those industries that I feel like it's ready to be disrupted in a way and like changed and looked at in a different way. Because like I said, everything else around the idea of a small local business has changed so much in the last 5 years, last 10 years. And I feel like that chamber, it's ready for something like different, and I don't know exactly what that could look like, but
you're probably not alone. But those of you that see chamber as maybe not being as effective or being archaic, whatever, and saying they need to do this, need to do that, they're not members of the chamber. I mean, so that so it's like anything else. You can sit back and say, well, yeah, they're not doing anything. Well, what are you doing to help? Well, nothing. I mean, I'm not a chamber member because of that. I mean, so
sure.
I mean, that's just it. I mean, those that organize. I mean, that's the same thing with service organizations. Service organizations have changed, as well. Like you said, there's, this younger generation is more hands off. I mean, yeah, there's a service aspect to it, whatever, but a lot of those service organizations are their leadership, may not be as progressive and such, and so there's not the interest to join or participate. And so, if those that have the ideas of how something should look like a chamber aren't members of the chamber, then the chamber may not get the support they need if there's a handful in there that are trying to do different. I mean, and I think Courtney Butler's doing a great job. I mean, they're taking advantage. I get that everybody's doing QR codes and websites and links and and virtual things as well, trying to find ways to stay on top of things as well. And so I get that it's a struggle. It's just I guess different type of group and organization.
Yep. Got it. Okay, moving on. Next question is from Michael on Instagram. A lot of the suppliers to the battery plant are opening up in Miami County instead of Howard County. How is Kokomo trying to secure the businesses here?
Many of the suppliers are, suppliers to the plant, meaning the recycling of byproducts, some of the products for the manufactured products built right next door to the battery plant. So I don't know what suppliers he's referring to that are setting up shop in
specifics,
in Miami County. I know one of the suppliers near the battery plant purchased a couple of the old barracks on Grissom and turned those into apartments for their workers. So that's up there, but I guess I haven't heard of any additional suppliers to the battery plant setting up shop in Miami County. So, I mean, we're doing all we can, but also at the same time, as large as that is, and as many as there are, we know that the workforce isn't all going to come from Howard County, and so we need to keep thinking regionally that even if companies, set up shop in close proximity, but they're in Miami County, they're in Grant County, they're in Cass County, those companies will still employ Howard County and City of Kokomo workers. I mean, there's people that will possibly very likely be employed, by those companies. And so regionally it benefits when something is built in Howard County, if something's built in Miami County, you don't get the definite, AV benefit to that having, set up shop in your county, but the residual effect, a lot of those workers may still come to Howard County and shop, eat, entertain, live. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'd be interested to hear what suppliers there are. And
well, Michael, if you're watching, maybe you can follow up with more details next week. Sure. Okay. Next question is from Brady on Instagram. With baseball being played again at the stadium, what's the deal with the concession stands not being used? They have a food truck out front, but wondering why the concession stands are not being used. So no hot dogs, popcorn, drinks, things like that. Brady on Instagram.
So probably talking about either IUK Cougars or when Kokomo High School is out there, and really neither school has provided concession stands during those games, and a lot of that because the don't have the additional staffing for those concession stands during those times, and the schools don't as either. There hasn't been, which is one of the exciting things about possibly a new owner for a new team in Kokomo that would also manage the stadium. This new management organization that possibly would take over the stadium this summer will, in fact, provide additional staffing for concessions, whether it's IUK or Kokomo High School games, or definitely the Cubs games or other events down there. So those will be added, but it's just typically been in the past because it hadn't been during Jackrabbit season, and because the Parks Department doesn't have additional staff or funds to contract out for a concession stand workers. Neither school has said that there's been a need or desire of theirs to have those concession stands open. I know Coca-Cola put a vending machine out there so you can get Coke products and such. But as he mentioned, some of the food trucks in the area have taken advantage of that as well and parked out front and provide those options.
Okay, gotcha. William on live chat wants to know, when does the Chick-fil-A construction start?
Not sure.
Okay. Next question is from Clayton on live chat.
Probably this summer, but not sure. We'll have to ask Chick-fil-A.
What's going on at the old Mike Anderson used lot on 931?
Mike Anderson lot at Sycamore 931. Mike Anderson got moved north up to the corner, I believe, of 931 and Morgan. On a lot up there. Correct. So what's happening there, that's another proposed housing project in that area that will complement the homes that were previously constructed on the old Delco Park site. They're just east of 931. So that will be part of the eventual development that'll have mixed use, that'll have apartments, that'll have some retail. I don't think there's going to be a hotel. There might be a hotel proposed there. Not sure with everything else that's going up, but that's going to be part of an overall development for additional housing and retail.
Gotcha. Okay. And the last question on live chat today. Something needs to happen to the traffic on Sycamore and Dixon. I was almost hit crossing the street today.
Okay. Hopefully,
there are crosswalks there, right?
Yeah, there's a crosswalk. So maybe the arrow wasn't activated, or just as
a rogue driver,
busy as people are. They look west as you're turning right and don't see somebody getting ready to cross the street on that corner of Sycamore and Dixon. But it is a busy intersection. It's a wide intersection, and so you really got to scoot when you're crossing. But I know that there are activators. So if they're pushing the button to activate the crosswalk, and person hope that typically tells the or holds the lights off so that folks can get across. But unfortunately, like I said, if somebody's wanting to turn right on red and they're looking the opposite direction when you're getting ready, they sometimes startle you.
Gotcha.
and vice versa.
Okay. Well, those are the questions we had today. So if you have any more questions for the mayor, leave them in the chat below. I'll always go back and look at previous episodes to make sure I don't miss any questions, as well as we always put out a post on Mondays where you can leave your chat in the comments of that post, or you can always just contact us at thekokomopost.com.
Absolutely.
Or you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok as well. So thanks for watching this episode. Mr. Mayor, do you have a dad joke for us today?
Hey, well, with it being St. Patrick's Day, leprechauns are green for a reason. I mean, they're very environmentally conscious. I didn't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that. No, it's interesting.
Yes, they're all wee cyclers.
Wee
cyclers. Wee cyclers.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good one.
Thanks.
Well done. Thanks for watching this episode of the Mayor Tyler Moore Show here on the Kokomo Post, partner with Robert Miller and Son Furniture of Kokomo. Like I said, if you have any questions for us next week, leave them in the chat below. I'll make sure to go back and get them. And have a great and safe St. Patrick's Day. Make sure to check out, once again, non-paid sponsor, Kokomo Curtain Call Show this weekend. Bring the kids. Fun show, Lion King Jr. You'll love it. They'll love it. We'll all love it.
Can't wait.
See you next time, Kokomo.
See you, Kokomo.